Hello everybody, welcome to a video where I'm going to do a owner's review on this bad boy. It's a Greenfield ride-on mower made in Australia, and I could say I'm going to tell you the pros and cons, but it's all pros because I've owned or been involved with mowers of this brand for the last 30 or so years. Alright, I joined a couple of, or one in particular, Facebook group some time ago about Greenfield mowers, and I was amazed at the interest that's still around with them. Because if you don't know, Greenfield, I can't explain it in the technical terms, folded in some way some years back, and it looks to me like they allowed Cox mowers to make mowers on their behalf. If you don't know who Cox are, they're an Australian ride-on mower manufacturer. Their colour is red usually, and they do make very good product, but they're a different brand of mowers. Anyway, when the Cox branded Greenfield came out, I don't know what you guys thought, but I took one look at it and said, it's a Cox mower with yellow paint on it. No disrespect to Cox, as I said, they make a good product. Anyway, fast forward till very recently, unless it's a hoax, Greenfield appeared to be returning in this fashion. It looks like this, but more on that later. Anyway, because of all the interest on that Facebook group, I thought I might give an owner's review in my experience with this machine. So I bought it brand new in 2012, so that makes it 10 years old. Back then it cost $4,600, and what you see here is the standard or base version of the large mower. The hint as to what's going on is here on that sticker. 18.5 horsepower, Briggs and Stratton single cylinder motor, and the 32-inch cut. There was a mini mow which looked like one of these had been put into an oven and it shrunk, but that was a much smaller machine, I suspect for landowners that needed to get into some real tight spaces. So let's continue and I'll tell you about this machine. I suppose you could say I'm going to tell you pros and cons, but it's all pros because I've had Greenfield mowers in my family for about the last 30 plus years. Now, before we get into the ins and outs of this machine, I'll just let you know why I'm so pro and biased Greenfield. My first experience was with this little machine back in about 1990, and it was inherited with a property man my father bought at the time. I've got no idea what model number it was. It had been through the paces when we got a hold of it, and it went on for a number more years on 20 acres. My old man used to go up and down hills and into ravines, and this thing would not stop. Here's a picture of it. Yes, what you saw was a much younger version of me in that picture. Anyway, when my father got too old to pull start that machine, we bought him a Evolution series Greenfield which looked similar to this back in the late 90s, and from memory it had a 13 horsepower Honda motor in it, and if I remember the sticker, it might have been a 34-inch cut. Let's see if I'm correct. Here's photos of that machine. So if you want a mower for suburban lawns or the golf green approach, or you want acres of plastic and cup drink holders and cruise control and somewhere to put your mobile phone, look elsewhere. Don't look at this. You can see it's heavy metal, excuse the pun. This is built to take punishment. I don't punish it, but my property's rough as guts. Even though I go slow, I get thrown around a bit, my kidneys get rearranged. Well, that's what it feels like. This machine can take it. Have a look. What's plastic here? Possibly the steering wheel, alright? It's all made of high-grade steel. The chassis, if you have a close look yourselves, if you come across one, it's a robust build. It'll go a lifetime, let me assure you. I've done 138 hours in 10 years. That's nothing. I clean it after every use. I don't spray it with water unless I've got to go under the cutting deck. Everything that I clean here is just with a handheld air blower. The two issues I've had, which are chicken shit, is quite some years back the starter solenoid packed it in. Big deal. That's a $25 gadget that lives under here. Alright, and only yesterday I finally replaced these straps that hold the bonnet on. They started to fray, and I just went to the dealer that I bought this from, and they had them there in a plastic bag. Lots of them, easy to fit. Alright, let's go through what we can see on this side. A steering wheel, key start, no fancy multiple positions like some of the big brand names, it's just on and off. This here is your cutting height adjustment. If you can see down there, you would have seen the deck go up and down. It's not that difficult to do. To engage your cutting deck, it's this lever here, down and back, and then the racket starts. It's pretty noisy. I recommend you wear ear defenders when you're on here, and to disengage. And here, let me focus for you. This pedal here, it controls your back and forward and your stationary travel, so you don't have to press it very hard. When you're not on it, it sits in the neutral position. With the engine going, you just sit here. You want to go forward, just there you go. There's not much movement there. Just slightly push on it and you're away. Your speed is actually controlled by a combination of this and your hand throttle, which is around the other side. I'll show you that. Actually, I'll go back on what I said. Technically speaking, your speed's controlled by your revolutions, okay? If you want to stop, you just let go of the pedal and it comes to a halt pretty quickly. If there's an emergency stop involved, just hit backwards into reverse, okay? But in your day-to-day mowing operations, no sudden jerks back and forward. It's not good for the machine in the long run. If you're lucky enough to have the operator's manual like I do, that's what it says in there. Now, just talking about this forward and back pedal, I want to tell you there's a lot of other mowers out there that you can mow going forward, but when you want to mow backwards, you've got to come to the dashboard and press a button, and that will allow you to go backwards, because if you don't press that button, I think they stop. It's a safety feature of some sort. I thought safety was just to turn and look and see what's behind you, but anyway, that must just be me. So there's no such hindrance here. You've got the blades engaged and you're cutting away, going forward. Just, as I said, slow down, put it in neutral, press it backwards. The cutting deck doesn't care if you're going back or forward. You're free to go back and forward without any hindrances. I hope that makes sense. Alright, to the heart of the matter, There you go. You just put the bonnet forward. Alright, Briggs & Stratton single cylinder motor, 500cc, 18.5 horsepower, like it says on the bonnet sticker. Some people love Briggs & Strattons, some want Kawasaki's. I'm not getting into that because I don't think that way. I just like what works, and this engine is very good for what I want it to do. Your fuel tanks here, all plastic. That there is a very good thing. If you change your own engine oil, you just unclip it and it comes down, and that bit of pipe you might see there is like the built-in drain pipe. So you're not going to have oil fall all over the chassis like you do in some other makes. And there's the exhaust, which is damn hot if you touch it when it's running. Alright, we're on this side now. These two knobs, when you undo them, your air cleaners in there, so you can take it out and clean it or replace it. Your oil filters here, it's a spin-on type, like in a vehicle. And I marvel at this big plastic engine cover. My neighbour who saw it years ago went, wow, it's like a big V6 Commodore engine. I get his sense of humour. Emergency stop brake. And here you have an axle lock. It says here, rear axle lock. If you're putting it somewhere where it needs to not move at all, you use that. I've never used it myself, there's no need to. Here's the hand throttle I was talking about. So up is fast and choke right at the very top, because there's an indented ridge line to go to choke. And down for slow, there's a red light in case the oil is low. And for the luxury versions, I can see a blank thing there for lights. We don't have the lights on this model. Alright, that's just the hand throttle. So where it is now, it's at idle, and when you go up, full speed, and then if you go into the little indented bit, that's your choke setting for cold starts. Alright, we lift the seat. The seat, by the way, is adjustable, back and forward. So when we lift up, you can see the two most important items in here for us is our little battery. The solenoid that I said I replaced is right here, I'm not going to touch it. And then you got these two big wheels. They're the drive line for this little machine, and they're connected to a big belt that heads all the way to the front to the engine pulley. I sort of understand how this works, but I'm not even going to try and explain it to you because it'll come out wrong. But basically, when you push forward or backwards the front pedal for motion, it's connected to these wheels, and there's a bit of sideways movement, and the belts lock in and do their things, something like that. Just going back to the belts here. Alright, as far as I understand, there's two belts in this machine. That's what they call V-belts, but that's the drive line belt, and it's quite long. It goes, if I can close the seat up, it goes right under the mower in a fashion through the chassis, and it'll connect to the engine pulley, which is underneath. I don't know if we got it there. Okay, the engine pulley is connected to by that belt that I just described, and a shorter belt, which is the cutter belt, which is the belt to engage the cutter. That's a simplistic explanation. Okay, we've got all the modern filming technology aids here, like that work light. Now, I'm trying to show you the blades. There's two blades, that's all. There's not three or any of that stuff, and they're just connected to the main spinning device in the middle. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're called swing back blades or something like that. So if you strike something, you're not going to shatter everything. There's a bit of give in them. If I'm wrong, somebody tell me in the comments. So on that Facebook group I saw a comment that Greenfield were coming back. I still think it's under licence by Cox somewhere. I see their Cox badge on the website, I think, and the machines will look like the one I just showed you, or very similar. I'll put up a link to how to get to that web page. Somebody said they're made in China. Stiff Mickeys for all the doubters out there. Everything's made everywhere. Let's not pick on a particular country. If you've seen my other videos, I own a few Chinese made agricultural products and they work fine. So let's see the new ones out on the market. It'll be good. So that's it, everybody, short and sweet. I hope you got a little bit of an idea of what these tough machines are all about. You could service it yourself. I don't. I just leave it to the professionals. It's no skin off my nose. Every year since I've bought it, it's gone into where I bought it from, and they do a very good job on it. If you happen to live where I live, or close to where I live, I highly recommend Townsville Mowers. Okay, they sold me this thing. They're a good shop in there. Go in and see young David. Well, he's not that young, but he's younger than me, and he'll look after you. Now I'll leave yous enough talking, and I'll just show you some odds and sods pictures and videos of this machine in action to see out the video. Thank you everyone for watching. See you next time.